Alright, it's the next day after I finished all the service work. There's one more thing I want to do before I start the bike up. This morning I picked up an Iridium spark plug to replace the old stock one, because it's the only thing I really didn't take care of in the service that I should have. Okay, so the stock plug, look at the state of that, it's well due for replacement. CR8EIX-9, and the Iridium replacement is CR9EIX. The one thing I didn't consider was that there might be a cap on it, but there's always a cap on it. Always, always, always. Into the kitty litter we go. You save yourself a ton of trouble by matching Carmen! Sorry mate, I was out the back.
You're right, mate. One for Nick.
Yep, that's me.
Scribble on there.
Oh yeah.
Never usually works very well.
No.
Why they always put stickers around the bloody corners.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
That is my new fuel injector. That's not going on the bike now because I still haven't taken it for a test ride since I've done all the service work. Okay. All right. Now, oh gee whiz, I do have to take this helmet off. Maybe I can stick you up on the top step like so, because my nose is running a mile a minute. All right. Now, of course, it was raining this morning. Let me talk to you around here. So, of course, it was raining this morning and it's turned into be a bloody beautiful day, and I'm glad I decided to gear up because I wasn't sure if I was going to get rained on still or not. So the goal of today's ride is, of course, just to see if my check engine light is going to come on and whether or not excuse me while I put my microphone in here. Alright, so the good news is the bike is idling. I'm glad that I did the valves, even though the bike wasn't necessarily performing badly. I feel like I caught that exhaust valve before it became a real problem. Ever since I gummied up the throttle body that I butchered, I've been curious as to how the bike's actually going to ride. Alley-oop. You're not going to be able to tell from tootling around town if the bike's really performing differently, because for one thing, we've barely cracked the throttle. And another, well no, that's it, really. All we can tell is that the bike's not surging or backfiring, and it feels as smooth as it always does, which means I haven't actively made anything worse. But you know what? It's doing that big job on the valves, I think, is going to make the biggest difference either way. my fuel injector arrived today, which I wasn't expecting it till tomorrow, and I nearly missed it because, well, I was out in the yard doing this spark plug. And as tempting as it is to put it in right now, I still need to take the bike for this ride to make sure that I haven't butchered the throttle body up wide open. I feel better knowing that there's fresh oil and a fresh oil filter in there. Really, I should have changed that filter quite a long time ago. It's I changed it for the 5,000 kilometer service. I really should have done it at 10, but I chose to do it at 12,000. Which, you know, I feel like it was a bit overdue, but better to do it before it actually got worse. But given that the state of my oil was turning grey and sluggish, I'm not sure that that old filter was actually doing anything. I think it was all just clogged up. We'll see how this oil goes. I do think that discoloration of the oil is due to those cheap clutch pads, but I've had those clutch pads in for 5,000 kilometers now, give or take. Almost 5,000 maybe. So they've held up. I think they just lose more grit than they really should. But I do have some OEM plates. Actually, we're going to go left. I do have some OEM plates on order from Honda, but I've got no idea when they're going to come in. But I'm going to change out those old clutch pads just to be on the safe side. But yeah, that's not a critical job. It's just something that I want to do. I don't know, call it preventative maintenance. Well, you know what? We're only cruising at 60 k's an hour, but the bike feels pretty smooth still. I mean, it always has felt smooth. But I remark on it because this is the first valve adjustment I've done on it, and the fact that I didn't make it considerably worse. You know what? That was smooth as. Normally I really struggle to get the bike up to 80 k's in third. It just did it. You'll hit the limiter in third at about 80 kilometers an hour. I think 82 is the highest I've seen. But I was just curious. All right, third gear pull. Oh, it's torquey. The bike's always been really good up to 80 k's an hour. It's when you try and go faster than that it really starts to slow down. Alright, this road we're turning right onto is 100 k's. Now normally it's just some reason the bike doesn't like to go faster than 93 along here. So we'll see how we go. well, it feels really good. As I say, this is a road where the bike struggles to go above specifically 93 kilometers an hour, and we've hit 100 k's really smoothly and really easily. And that is remarkable. And I'm not even in a full tuck right now, I'm just sort of hunched over a little. But there's barely any vibration through the handlebars or anything. The bike feels really smooth. Now I actually have to slow down because the caravan in front. Right, let's give this caravan some space. There's nothing behind us. I want to do a fourth gear pull to see if we can get fourth gear up to high 90s, but I fear that we're just going to catch up to this caravan regardless. No, we're out of space. I do think that JB Weld's doing its job admirably. The fourth gear will top out at 98, but you're not going to do it unless you're going downhill. Well, we just saw 97, but we were able to maintain speed at wide open throttle in fourth pretty well too, so I'm happy with that. I do think that JB Weld is doing its job and creating a spot, and remembering that according to my OBD2 scanner, the throttle's only opening 90%. Oh, dumb fuck. This bike's inability to maintain the speed limit just because of a mild hill is my only real complaint about it. Keeping a full tuck is not good for my back, and the seating position of this bike doesn't really lend itself well to crouching over. Yeah, I'm pretty confident that my throttle body repair has worked. I mean, I just hit the limiter in second and third and no engine light. My only real concern with my my JB Weld putty was that I was going to make it too big and take too much away from wide open throttle, but I feel like 90% is right where the bike wants to be. Now, a spirited dash down Haunted Hills Road should be a good indicator of how the bike's performing. Legitimately think the hardest part about Haunted Hills Road is these best curves are all in a 60k zone, and you just, I mean, I'm sure people fly along here all the time, but even on a 125, it's like, this is too slow. Keep on hitting the limiter in third. Let's just back it off a little. If the bike was going to throw a code, it would have done it under that kind of riding. It's a really uneven surface around those corners. Alright, we are going to Freeway. Bit of a misnomer coming off that on-ramp. It's right downhill, so of course you're going to be able to pick up that little bit of extra speed, and we're catching a good draft of the vehicles in front, which means we're still able to get that 110 kilometers an hour. That's what I was curious about. with that 90% throttle whether or not I'd still be able to hit these freeway speeds. What I'm happy about is that I'm really fairly reliably able to hit 100 Ks. Sometimes it would be a bit of a struggle. Look, I'm not even tucking right now, and we're doing 107, and a lot of that is the fact that we're going downhill and we've got a draft, so, you know, perfect storm. But I'm actually throttling back. This bike does not have the power to be able to jump in the right-hand lane and just overtake, because I'll just end up holding people up. And the reality is, when you're catching a draft, it feels like you can overtake. You get out from the draft and you hit this wall of air, and all of a sudden you're slowing right down by 10 or 15 Ks an hour, and you've got to pull back in anyway. Slide uphill, and of course the speed drops. It's just the nature of a 125 though. I feel like, even though this is probably one of the least powerful bikes at barely 10.5 horsepower, it still manages remarkably well, but I wish that it was sitting at around 15. But a 15 horsepower 125 is going to put you back $6,000 or $7,000 up. The CBR 125, yeah, I want that, but I'm not paying $7.5 grand for it. This is a remarkably smooth bike. It really is. You know what? I couldn't be happier with the way the bike's performing. There's no guarantee that I won't still throw an engine code, because even after I ground down the throttle stop in the first place, it took nearly 3 tanks of fuel before it ever threw a code, and the last time I rode, you know, it happened twice in a ride, and I just thought, you know, it's better to undo my mistake rather than have the bike cut its power like that semi-regularly. I'm pretty confident that I can go ahead and put that injector in. Hopefully everything just sort of plugs and plays. It should. But I can't do that while the engine's hot, so that might be a job for tomorrow maybe.